Hi YouTube. The reason for this video is I have just bought, first time for a very long time, a Bburago model. This one is of a Ford Capri Mark 3. It's the 2.8 injection and it's just been delivered a little bit earlier on. It's the 1/24 scale, which is a scale very popular with Bburago collectors. These and the 1/18 scale are at the lower end of the model car price bracket. So this is one that I've bought, just taking delivery of today. And one thing to get out of the way very quickly is it's listed as a Ford Capri from 1973, and that era goes through to the underside of the car as well, which also says 1973. It isn't, I don't know what year it is, it's probably about a 1983, certainly with the 2.8 injection modelled here. But just to be aware that Bburago make a Mark 1 model of a Capri, an RS Capri of the same scale. So if you do want to buy this Mark 3 Capri model, do make sure that when you're ordering you don't end up ordering the wrong one. But let's take a quick look at how good it is. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to mention is the issue of price. Over the past few years, model cars have become stupidly expensive, and if you get a 1/18 scale model these days, you can be separating yourself from the best part of £100. Now, if you just like but don't love a particular kind of car, that's not the sort of money you want to be spending on it. And that's pretty much how I feel about the Capri. I think they're fantastic machines, but I don't want to be spending a couple of £100 on a model of one of them. Particularly not when it wasn't so many years ago that you could probably get a whole car for that, albeit very ropey. Even things of the smaller scale, so I've got a couple of 1/43 scale cars in the background there. The gold one is a Mini Champs. They're now selling for very nearly £50 for those scale of models. You can get them for less than that, but not much. And you'd be lucky to get one on eBay for much less than, say, about £30. And then on the left hand side you've got a Corgi Vanguards, which is what's another, I think that's a 2.8 model as well, with the similar pepper pot style alloy wheels. Very good, but even there, Vanguards a few years ago around the £10–15 mark. They tend to start at about £30 now. Quite a lot of money. This one, the Bburago, is 1/24 scale, so it's a bit bigger. Arguably you can get more detail, or it's just larger to notice the lack of detail. But let's take a look at it, because it displays really well. It's quite a nice size, that, and I just wanted to put it into context that you get quite a lot more for your money. To have this delivered, it was about £20, so you can probably get these for about £15 to £20 off the shelf. Maybe a little bit more than that in some of the more expensive model car shops, but I managed, as I say, to get this thing delivered during lockdown for £20. Okay, so I suppose the first question is, if you are a Ford Capri enthusiast, should you buy one of these? And I think, yes, you should. I think it's a good enough model that it's pretty faithful to the original car, and you'll get a lot of pleasure out of some of the details that they've brought together with it. To do a very quick review of what I like about it, I like the way it's of the 2.8 injection, which is a very popular car. I like the way that they've got it right in terms of the wheels match. There is some interior detail where you can see that the shape of the steering wheel's correct, the gear stick's pretty good. They have put some detail on the dashboard there, but it's a sort of very dark dashboard, so you can just about see some dials there, but the detail is there, but it's not that apparent. And I don't know whether these seats were originally Recaro ones. Probably were. It's a sort of Essex boy dream spec for these cars when it was new. Other things that I like, got little details like the wing mirrors on there. Things that frustrate me on a lot of other model cars are windscreen wipers. They will include windscreen wipers into the modelling, but then they make them very delicate, and they're always the first things to break. Well, these guys have moulded this into and through the windscreen, so you can't actually pick these and inadvertently break them when you're cleaning the model or whatever else. And I think generally if you turn the model right the way round, everything else that I like about it, I like because I like the Capri. So I like the power bulge in the bonnet, I like the profile of it. And because they haven't messed about with any kind of exotic suspension or anything like that, it sits very, very well. Sometimes with these models they can sit a little high or a little low. I think that's just about right. Okay, slightly new camera angle for no apparent reason, just as a bit of a roundup on things that that might not be so good. So if you are a die-hard Capri enthusiast, what are the things on this model that would be a bit of a disappointment? Well, I always think that the face of the Capri is the most distinctive thing, particularly the Mark III, because it's got this quad headlamp thing with a slightly frowning face. The bonnet seems to extend down a little on the real car from what I can remember, and it's got this sort of like frowning aggressive look. I think that's sort of been missed perhaps a little bit. Maybe the headlamps are set a little further forward, or the bonnet needed to be perhaps another mil longer just to get that frowning effect. And is it just me, or is that bumper quite a lot lower than the radiator? And was it always like that on the real car? I don't remember. I don't have a real one to refer to here. And whilst talking about the radiator there, is that Ford badge quite so high up on the real one? So considering the face of the Capri is such a thing with it, that might put off a couple of the more die-hard enthusiasts. The other things, even though I really like this colour, I'd have probably gone for a darker one. Dark blue or dark green tends to hide the panel gaps on models a little bit better. So, you know, you get this panel gap. It's nice to have the opening door because you can appreciate the interior a little bit better, even though it's very dark. But if they'd gone for a dark colour, you wouldn't have seen these panel gaps around the doors. Bonnet doesn't open, boot doesn't open, but the doors do. Final thing is it just me, or have they got these tail lights in the wrong order? Because that, to me, the lighter end looks like a reversing lamp, and shouldn't that be nearer the middle? Are these the wrong way round? Possibly if they are, possibly if this is a manufacturing fault, if it is, it's affecting all of them, because they all look like that online. But these things are held together with Phillips head screws rather than rivets or anything like that. So you could pull it apart and pop those lights out and swap them over, potentially. I think they're the only bits and bobs that I'm perhaps less keen on. But you've got to say that considering how expensive model cars are now, to get that delivered for less than £20, just under £20, I think the detail's pretty good. It displays very well. I'm really happy with it. They're not limited edition, so you don't have to rush out to get them, but if you're interested in Capris and you like a model, I can recommend this one. Cheers for now.